Hello again and welcome to another Tango Practica tips. If you're still having issues with learning how to invite the cross, well, this video is for you. We are looking specifically at how we can help the men invite the cross and discuss a lot of the issues that come up and specifically why it comes up in the first place. So gentlemen, one of the most important things you can do to help your own dance is to simply ask your partner how things felt. Did she feel that she had enough space? Did it feel like you were pushing her? Did it feel like maybe your chest was telling her one thing and your hands were telling her something else? Try to get specific on what she felt that caused her to either move in a certain way or to not move in a certain way. One thing you always want to remember, she is the expert in her own body. She knows what she feels. And you don't want to approach a problem saying, well, this is what you should be doing. Rather, you want to ask her, well, why isn't she doing this? If you don't know yet how to invite or how to execute the cross, I highly recommend going back to my previous video about how to learn the Ocho Cortado. It's taught for both the men and the women, and it allows you to learn these movements in a simple way. As always, in the description below, I have a list of videos, including their links, that references a lot of material that I was talking about today. I've learned a few things about why men, particularly less experienced men, have so many issues with leading across. And it's not just beginners. Sometimes people will be dancing like several years, and I'm going, there's something we need to fix here. And it basically comes down to two main things. One is that most guys are too worried about what happens with their feet. And so the first thing I like to teach them is that your feet know where to go. So if you can stand up with me for a bit and just walk around, you will notice that what you're really moving is your body, and your feet just fall underneath you to support what's happening with your upper body, no matter where you go, whether you're going forward, side, or back. Because what happens? Your body doesn't want to fall. If you stood on one foot and started leaning, like right now all my weight is on my left foot, and if I start leaning, this foot automatically comes out because my body doesn't want to fall. It just doesn't want to do that. So we'll do whatever it takes to try to keep its balance. So first thing, guys, is you have to quit thinking about your feet. Trust your feet will know where your body's going to go, but you really want to think about sending your body where you need to go. In the case of walking across, this is done only when you're outside partner. So you don't want to think about, okay, my foot is outside here, I'm going to bring my upper body to it. Instead, you want to move your upper body and let your feet fall underneath where it needs to go. Okay, so in this case, here's my partner, we're in line. If I want to go outside partner, then I am going to start moving my body out. Okay. What I'm not going to do is kind of just move my foot, because this doesn't tell my partner anything, right? The second thing is that we don't normally go around walking like this. And this is what the cross actually requires you to do. The only time might be if you're at a party and going in and going, hey, good seeing you again. Okay, then you might have this upper body movement as you're trying to head in the other direction. But normally when we move around, everything is in line, right? Your hips and your shoulders are facing the same direction. That's normal. What leading across requires is this movement here. Particularly if you are simply walking outside partner, okay? If we are doing a washing machine, making sure that our hips are nice and loose here, then we have our upper body You can do the same thing, going back and forth. We put them together, almost like doing the twist, right? And you can feel this contrabody happening. Contrabody meaning the counter rotation of the lumbar and the thoracic. So the upper body and lower body are going or spiraling in different directions. When we are outside partner, we need this contrabody happening when we're outside partner. This movement right here. Now to lead the cross, well, this gets us outside partner. To lead the cross, we simply straighten out. To practice this, what we're also going to do is strip away the extraneous stuff that really doesn't matter. And specifically, I'm talking about if you've learned to cross through that count basic. So if you go through that count basic, this is a whole, I'm just doing the man's part here. It's a whole, well, 8 steps, right? We're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across, 6, 7, 8. Most of that isn't really that important. The important part that you need to work on is forward with the right, forward with the left, and cross. Okay? So how do I get outside partner just from this stay neutral position? Okay? Well, that's really going to be easy. There are 2 ways of doing it. One is you just shift your weight onto this leg here. Here's my partner in front of me. I'm doing this without more partners, you can see. And all I'm going to do is turn my upper body and my lower body in opposite direction. So I'm using my contrabody that we talked about to get outside partner. And voila, we're outside partner. So this can be known as step 3. Okay. 4, I'm still going forward. And you see I still have my contrabody here. Hips are facing that direction. My partner's over here. And then 5, boom. I'm bringing her in front of me. And I'm inviting her from here to here. So one more time. Here I am in line. Here's my partner. I'm going outside partner. Forward again. And on the last step, I'm asking her to come in front of me. So instead of from here, I'm here. Now, it's perfectly okay to actually start your going outside a little early. So here I am, outside partner, and this time if I'm starting with my left foot instead of my right foot, for whatever reason, I can start inching out a little bit, and you can see a little bit of my upper body going to keep her where she's at in line. So I can start sneaking out there outside partner, and then finally go fully outside partner with this step. There's another problem that often comes up as well, and that is making the space, or making sure she has space for the cross. And that's a really simple solution. There's actually 2 different ways you may be told to do this. Let's label our steps 1, 2, 3. To create that space, I could go 1, 2. And you see how far forward my body is compared to what I was doing earlier? So now, because my upper body is more forward, that invites her to take a longer step to give room for the cross. Okay? So that's one way of doing it. So one more time, 1, 2, here's the bigger step, and then 3. And on 3 is the cross itself. That is one way of doing it. But if you do it that way, she may feel like she's being pushed. And the tendency for the men, when they do that, is they actually push you out. There's a better way of doing it, and this is what I prefer to do. And that is to simply take a smaller step than what I'm asking her to do. So instead of asking her to take a bigger step, I'm asking her to take a normal step, and I'm taking a smaller step. So it looks like this. B, B, cross. Did you see how much smaller my second step was? Here's a large, here's a smaller, and here's a cross. So I said, as long as I keep my upper body the same, she'll take her same size step, her normal size step. But I'm in control of my own legs. So if I have the upper body is the same and I can take a smaller step, that gives her additional room for the cross. It's a lot easier to take a smaller step than it is for her to take a larger step. And as being the gentleman you are, you always want to make it easier for her. You may still have an issue, particularly if, let's say, you have a brand new dancer. Okay? Well, I told you not to use this, which is true. You still have this. Okay? Specifically, I'm talking about this hand and this connection here. What's important is to understand that this connection here is going to be hitting this part of her body where the rib cage is. And that's going to help give you a little bit of leeway to be able to invite her, sometimes, just like anyone else, she'll need a bit of a stronger lead than somebody who's a lot more experienced. So you may need to gently move her this way, right? Have this against her rib cage until she goes. And if she still doesn't go, you still don't want to push her over. You kind of go, oh wow. And then you off you go, okay? At least you know you've done as much as you could. The other thing you have is this hand. Okay? So if she doesn't cross, you can kind of help nudge her with this hand a little bit, opening her up to see if that'll get her across. And if not, oh well, I guess you're not going to do the cross today. Just go ahead and dance. Like I said, the cross is just, well, it's just position really. It's a way to get to a neutral point so that you know that her right foot is free. This is the last of our 4-part series on the cross. There are many different ways of leading the cross, but if you understand the basic principles behind it and develop the physical skills or techniques of actually doing it, then you will find multiple different ways of inviting the cross for your partner. For instructors, I hope it helps you understand a lot of the issues that come up with some of the more traditional ways of teaching men and women, particularly when they're just starting out of the gate, how to lead a cross or how to execute the cross. One of my goals in this series in particular was to encourage people to think about how they explain to people what the cross is, or even how to teach. Especially if you are just simply a regular person, not a teacher, but just a student, trying to help another student to understand how to do the cross. The easier we can make this for our students, the more fun they're going to be able to have in Malanga. And isn't that the goal? Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.